Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Leaders Uncut. And it is today my great pleasure to have with us Judy Shapiro, who is the CEO of Topic Intelligence and EngageSimply. Hello, Judy. How are you doing?
Hello, Catherine, and hope you're having a great day. I know it's
Oh,
early for you.
yes.
Um, so delighted to be here. Thank you so much for the chance to have a chat with you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, Judy, I would love for you to give us a little bit of a background on who you are and what you are doing with Topic Intelligence, which is an AI technology that's proprietary to you, that generates topic-based data. Fascinating. So, I'm going to hand it over to you. If you want to introduce you to yourself and what you're doing, that would be great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Catherine. At its heart, I've been a marketer for many, many decades, and it has been a great pleasure because my passion is around direct marketing and acquisition marketing. Um, and it became clear to me as ad tech was evolving, it was less productive for a real clear outcome. You could buy clicks, you could buy impressions, you could buy lots of things, but if you wanted to try and really zone in on marketing that delivered outcomes, it was more and more challenged. B2B was underserved by ad tech.
Mhm.
Acquisition, affiliate, all kinds of marketers were frustrated. And something I understood pre-digital, topics generates interest.
Mm. Yeah,
Google understands that. That's the whole basis of the pay-per-click platform, the PPC platform.
right.
And yet trying to translate a topic paradigm in digital outside of the pay-per-click was impossible. You can't do it. You have to go down following people, creating audience segments, tracking them in their every move. You go to a website and then 5 seconds later you get an email. I personally find that creepy. Some don't, but it's kind of this pervasive surveillance kind of economy.
Hmm.
And that sounds good in theory. The problem with surveillance is it doesn't take into account their intent. So I could be the right person, but how many times have we all seen ads for something you've already bought,
Mm.
or something you can't afford, or something that is of little interest, but you searched for it because your grandmother asked you to? And so there's a whole level of noise when you're tracking people.
Hmm.
And when it comes to acquisition, it's all about efficiency. It's all about
Mm.
efficiency.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
true.
and you cannot afford to kind of chase people because they might have expressed an interest at one point. So probably at this point, it's been about 12 years. I started an ad tech venture. Frankly, it was one of the crazier things I've ever done. And again, it was born, frankly, out of frustration and anger. It just
Mm.
became more and more difficult for me to do an honorable job for clients. Say, here's what I've done, here are the outcomes. Programmatic is blind media buying. You have no idea where, when, who, how. You just don't know.
Yeah,
Brand
yeah.
safety was an issue. All these issues, and it was like, I could do better. What was I thinking? But it just felt like a whole side of marketing was being ignored in favor of the easy muscle scale surveillance engine that the edtech community was building.
Yeah, yes, yes, and that's a good point. I think the challenge for a lot of people is that you also have to deal with a lot of variables and maybe a lot of service providers too. And what I have seen is what that does, it's creating a lack of consistency in the messaging, in the look and feel, in the style, and it's not very cohesive, which really impacts the outcomes and the overall results. Is that something that you have experienced as well and that your platform is solving?
Yes, so that's a great insight because if you asked 100 marketers, we did a survey right here, right now, 100 marketers, what's your biggest problem? In my opinion, 99 out of 100 will say attribution
Mm.
because it's a hodgepodge of data. Google Analytics,
Yeah.
Google, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but your GA4 platform is so awful that it's astonishing. I use the Einstein example. He once said, unfortunately, given our tools, this is Einstein speaking, decades ago, he said, we are like looking at the universe as somebody looking at a pearl necklace through a pinhole.
Mm.
All you could see is a single pearl at a time.
Mm.
And that doesn't give you any understanding of the scope of the essence of what needs to happen and what you're supposed to do next. So I started with actually Topic Intelligence. We used to call it Brand Wisdom. We renamed it, but at the essence is, what are the topics a brand needs to present to a prospect for them to convert?
Yes.
It's a very basic idea. Now, people have argued, well, that's a keyword. A keyword is a simple binary keyword. Bank. A good example is bank, right? I'm a financial institution. I want to target bank. The problem is you have the West Bank, you have blood banks, you have all kinds of words that have the word bank, and so it becomes, again, a big waste machine.
Yeah.
Then you could say, okay, what about interest classifications? Google has interest classifications. And I once had this debate with this media team who said, interest classifications is perfect. I said, really? If you wanted to target folks that are just interested in Father's Day gifts, go ahead, go try and do it in interest classifications. You could get to parents, maybe you could get to fathers, but you can't go further than that.
Yeah.
And so we focus on what we call the resource level. It's that middle level that is more precise than the interest classification, but broader, more richer, intent-rich versus a keyword. A keyword is not intent-rich. It's really rather binary. And if you're in the Google search with AI, that's becoming even less and less productive.
My God, I mean, I was just going to tell you about this. We have new technologies coming in now, and people have to also think about potentially integrating them, and they have to start strategizing within those new environments right now, which adds to the complexity of the whole marketing deal that they have to implement, right?
Yeah. You know, quietly, very quietly, Google has completely changed SEO and PPC. I actually wrote an article. We have an education publication called the Trust Web Times that specifically talks about it. And what basically, Google missed the AI boat. And so what they realized is they were losing more and more searches. So because they were losing searches, you can't present ads to people that aren't searching. I mean, they just blew it. So what they've done, and again, I actually have a visual in the article in the Trust Web Times, but what they've done is cram 2/3 of the page 1, with their AI results. So organic doesn't hit until 2/3 of the page. At that point, AI is giving you an answer. Whether it's a good answer or a bad answer, you really have no way of knowing, because it's a little bit like, I love Escher, which is those paintings where you go into a house or a building with stairs and you can't get out. So AI is saying, go check my AI results, but then you're going to AI to check the AI results. It's a bit of an impossible situation.
Yeah.
So Google has reinvented PPC and SEO so that what was happening for 12 years, the next 12 months will be totally different. So how do you get into the AI results? This is where topic data is critical.
Got it.
Google is really saying, what are the questions to answer? What are the answers to questions people are asking? You need that topic level. You don't need keywords. That's useless. Interest classifications, too broad. Who cares? So it's that resource level that really, now we were doing this. Did I know that Google was going to give me another gift? So GA4 was my first gift from Google, because I am now, clients are coming to me saying, please give me your analytics. I'm begging you. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
But the second gift was this whole AI thing, because it really highlights the importance of this resource level.
Yeah.
Not interest classifications, which is really works for ad tech guys because they can sell scale, even though it's useless, or keywords, which is way too narrow.
Wow. I mean, so people are going to have to reinvent. I mean, recreate their whole strategy then.
The strategy changes. Just going into SEO, right? So people are used to working with, let's say, great tools like SEMrush, right? Yeah. And they're keyword based. They're wonderful. But that's, shall we say, yesterday's news. Tomorrow's news isn't about which keyword to bid on.
Yeah.
It's about what are those resource topics that you should do in social, that you should do in your content, that you should do in email. Those keyword-centric models are deteriorating in favor of AI. In fact, we just heard the other week, there's a new AI tool that is basically going to be an agent of agents. So right now, I could use an AI agent to do X, to do a task. Yeah. But this is the AI that will coordinate all the AI agents.
Yeah.
How is that going to work?
I know. I've talked. Actually, in fact, I had an interview with someone who has a tool like that. It's bringing all the agents together, and you can manage all these agents together, which is, it's something.
So the reason I love it is because the AI master agent can figure out the content using data. AI agents need data. Without data, they're impotent. They cannot do anything.
Right.
So our data was custom made for this new era. I can't say I was that clever. I just went back to my roots and say topics is what has always converted. Why do we not really double down on topics?
Yeah.
And we just didn't move from that. We just kept doubling down. We were using AI easily 4 or 5 years ago before everybody else to get the semantic contextual piece of it right. But at the end of the day, if you're in an acquisition mode, you have to deliver outcomes, whether it's for e-commerce or B2B or qualified leads. You have to start with the data that is needed for conversion.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
right.
It becomes predictive.
Yeah, but don't you think that the reason why data was not maybe prominently used is because it requires a bit more work? I mean, everybody's trying to go to the easiest path, the path of least resistance. I mean, what do you think?
Now that's a really interesting question. I think you're right with a but.
Okay.
Let's just take a big agency as an example, right?
Yeah.
The account people, the strategists, the creative people never go into a data platform ever. To me, that's a catastrophic fail of the data platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if I'm a creative person, I should be using data. I should be going in there and really understanding what's resonating, but they don't.
Yeah.
They wait for an analyst to give some report once, twice a year. So we built this topic intelligence data to be user-friendly.
Okay.
Anyone could go in there any minute and understand it right off the bat. Understand how to use it, understand what it means, because what we did, which was different, and this is probably the most important part of where the innovation and struggle when we were developing came up, right? Let's say you're a clean energy company, right? You're a clean energy company, you want to get people to convert their stovetops and their water heaters and all this other thing. It's very difficult to know how that topic works across the site.
Mm-hmm.
You could get it at a page level, and then maybe you want to add up, but you don't even know which pages that particular topic is being expressed on.
Right.
That's what we've done. So you could look at it at a topic level for the site. You could obviously go into a page level. But if you're a creative person or the social media person, and you see clean energy is lagging, it's just not churning out what it used to, you have to go in there to address it.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be, what do I do today? It's not meant to be this esoteric conversation between analysts and creative who are falling asleep at the presentation because they don't know what to do with any of this.
Yeah, and I think timing and speed of reactivity is going to be critical because we don't have the luxury to wait a few days, a few weeks before something is finalized. We have to be extremely fast. The speed of reactivity, I think, is 100x. Seriously, everything has to happen very, very fast.
Yes.
And what's critical, and I would love you to address that, is measurement and monitoring of everything we are doing instantly, because very often you have a chance to react fast if something is not working, especially after you have invested money and you have to come back to your boss or to your client saying, well, we invested all your money, we don't have many results. So if you would like to, I would love you if you could address that, because it's critical to monitor results very quickly and to react to those results even more fast. I mean even faster.
Yes, exactly. Because here's one of the things where sometimes agencies don't get the urgency that the clients feel. Mm-hmm. If I'm in the acquisition business, every day I'm sub-optimized is a day I'm losing money.
Yeah.
If I'm an agency and I'm running this big brand campaign with 1 million commercials, they don't feel the urgency. But at the end of the day, where I believe a lot of service providers have failed the CMOs is they didn't give the CMOs ammunition that the CFOs need to hear.
Yeah.
I just gave you $10 million. Can you tell me anything that is useful to me? Yep. And agencies have just like, oh, well, we got clicks, we got impressions, we got cheap impressions. And yes, that's nice, but the CFO doesn't give, we say here, a rat's ass about any of that.
Yep. And
so measurement has to be thought of differently. I worked a lot of years in attribution. And there's the why model. There's the, Google lives with the last click model. It completely ignores everything that happened before it. And it gets the credit for the conversion if somebody clicked on an ad and converted into a customer. That's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about that Google's being ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's not how the human brain works. It's not, like, I'm selling this pen. Great. Yes, I see an ad, I need a pen, I'll buy the pen. But anything that is at all content-centric, which is 90% of the planet, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So attribution has been overcomplicated. Again, in my more cynical moment, I believe Google makes it that way, so people waste money, but they don't know it. And Google's social engineering is advertisers always think it's them. They're doing it wrong. Somehow, if they did it perfectly, they would get better results, as opposed to, no, this is just not the right platform for a B2B, right? But they're brilliant at telling you, it's you, it's not us. If you just optimize the way we tell you, you'll be fine. And when I tell clients, Google helpfully in Google Ads gives you an optimization score. I don't know if you've seen that recently, but from 0 to 100, 100 is good, right? And they give you all these tools and tips to help you optimize your PPC campaign. And number one way is use the keywords that Google tells you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that sounds very logical, except when you really think about it, the same keywords you're using are the ones that they're giving to your competitors.
Yeah.
So now everybody's bidding on the same keywords. Cost per click goes up, your results don't necessarily go
and
up.
that's the challenge. This is where we're going to see a major shift.
And that's where that topic data gives you a completely different way to explore it. So the way we do attribution is crazy, simple, stupid. Honestly, what we do is we create campaigns at a topic level, topic number 1, topic number 2, and we measure in the aggregate because we've already built it that way, how that topic did. I don't even tell our clients anymore, here's how PPC did versus this versus that. They don't care. If the topic campaign did deliver what we think it should have, great. If it doesn't, then we either change the topic out because it's not a productive topic, change a tactic. But clients, I have never had a client say, tell me, gee, okay, the campaign did great, but which delivered the best? I've never had a client ask because it's academic. It doesn't matter. Once you take out all that noise, it's here's the topic, here's the campaign. Where clients struggle, and this is sad, so we have a service that helps them. Client tech stacks are a mess. Meaning, they might use 2 different CRMs, but they don't know it. They'll have an email platform over here, which is separate. They might have Google Tag Manager, which isn't synced up to the CRM. And so if the client tech stack is messed up, I can only go so far. Meaning I could say, okay, based on what we see, here are the number of qualified leads. How many of those did you convert? Well, we're not sure because, it's not so clear to us. I'm like, okay, then you have a tech stack problem. Let's look at that. So that's why we have the 2 parts. You said it's really hand in glove. Topic intelligence is the data, and some companies can run with it and they're good to go. I would say easily 65% of our clients use the topic intelligence data, but then we have a services wrapper around it so we can actually activate the data for them. They either don't have the time or the internal resources. So EngageSimply is the services, because platforms are great, just like attribution platforms for clients are great, but if you don't know how to work it, it's useless. That's why we have that model that's a dual, but the core is topic intelligence. 100% of our clients use topic intelligence. I don't have any clients that are just services that don't use topic intelligence.
Well, it makes sense. So you have the topic intelligence, then you provide the performance metrics, and then you guide your client into implementing the right game plan consistently, right? I mean, that's very important because it's a game of adjusting all the time.
Exactly. And agencies are a little too timid in trying out new approaches. So right now they're bought into a single adtech model, and it's difficult for me to break through. The ones that are truly measured on acquisition, like affiliate marketers, like e-commerce, I have a much easier time with those. I do. But like, for instance, we created an entire branding product that answers one question. Again, sometimes the simple questions just get overlooked. Like, what should my brand be worth, right? How many times have you heard an agent say, oh, you need to do branding, And I'm like, okay. People used to tell me this when I was on the client side for so many years. I said, fine, but what's my moonshot? What's the goal? What am I trying to achieve? I'm at this level. What do you think?
Right.
And well, so what should the brand be worth? What are your gaps to get there?
Yeah, yeah.
And what's the roadmap? And it's a 1-month project. Most agencies charge, a lot of money for that. 6 months later, the whole market's changed. So whatever it is they did is probably academic. Back to your speed of implementation. We are not, as an industry, the agency industry is not nimble. We're not known for being nimble.
Mm-hmm.
We're known for big strategy documents and then big audience segmentation analysis, maybe a demographic overlay. Then you've got the media plan. By the time it comes and goes, you're easily 6 months into the program.
Yeah,
we go live with our clients in 45 minutes.
Wow, I mean, this is what's
no, 45 days. Sorry, 45 days.
45 days. Yeah, but that's so critical. And you're right.
It is.
Big agencies, I know, I have experienced it myself. They give you timelines that are weeks and weeks. And I'm listening to this and I'm asking them, is that realistic nowadays? And the answer is most of the time, well, this is how we work. And I'm thinking, I don't think you're going to work like that very long. It's not going to work for you anymore if you don't adjust to anything. And you know what? If it's the case, then businesses or entrepreneurs or large companies, they're not going to use large agencies anymore. It's not going to be relevant to them.
Well, that is one of the reasons why the big agency mergers are happening, because they are not well suited to the current model. So what they're doing is, and I've been part of those big mergers myself, is they're going to bulk up for quote efficiencies, which usually means, let go of people.
Right.
Here's what happens. And again, I've seen this again and again, and I bet you have too. You have this big mega agency company that was put together, right? I think, the one that's coming up. Nobody knows how to get anything done.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big hierarchy that you have no clue where to begin. And so, well-intentioned individuals are trying their best, but you have to fight the internal, structure. Like, for instance, some agencies force you to use a certain tech stack that they've already invested in.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't work for the client. Like, how is an account person supposed to deal with that?
Well,
it's not an easy thing.
This is why, unfortunately, a lot of marketers have lost credibility. Yes. And we have to rebuild that credibility. And it's a tough job, but it's essential. And the way we build credibility is to use tools that show conversions, that show metrics that are credible, that we can act on, and that allow us to implement changes very quickly. That's going to be one of the key components of success.
I agree. I used to work at a big agency that did a lot of P&G business. This was all pre-digital, it's analog. And we would sit at the table with our clients. We were wholly accountable for how the performance of that brand was, right?
Yeah.
And so we sat at the table. So in a P&G, if you've ever done a budget review, there's a big table where the team sits, like the product managers and the agencies, and then there's a panel, a judging panel of about 4 or 5 people, depending on the business unit.
Yeah.
Budgets were awarded on one metric. Did our market share go up or down? That's it. They didn't care about any of this others. And what I think has happened is, as soon as digital hit, agencies ran from, we are accountable with you for your business. Mm-hmm. They really wanted to get away from accountability. And the argument was, well, we can't control everything, so why should we be accountable?
Yep.
That was, in my mind, that was the tipping point of when the agency became valued to clients.
I 100% agree with you. But that has to change, and then I think it is changing. So I think those models will need to be completely recreated, reinvented.
I don't think big agencies can get there. We're having a great year, and again, it's just January, and we're beating big agencies.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
More often than even I'm expecting. I come from a big agency. I know that world.
I know.
And I've worked with them as on the client side, so I'm intimately aware of how they work. Yeah. And I'm like, shoot, we really did win that one. That's kind of awesome for major brands. Yeah. And again, I'm not promising the world. For instance, if you said you wanted a glorious, 2-minute video, I could do it, but it's not really what we do. We do one thing really, really well: acquisition marketing.
And I think that's video. Yeah, and that's what's important. You have your specialty. We still need great content. We need quality content. We need content that is hyper targeted, especially in the B2B fields, right? You have to have something that matches your audience's expectations
Yep.
and needs, that solves their problem. And it
Exactly.
has to be communicated in a way that's easily understood. You cannot appear as a geek, so that, because then nobody's going to get you or understand the value that you're offering. So the content quality has still to be there. It has to be very targeted, but all of these, the content can be developed a lot faster. That's also true, thanks to AI. So all those elements have to be put into place. But I think success going forward in marketing advertising is going to be selecting the right tools and some of the newest tools that are available on the market.
Well said. I have this debate. One of our clients is a not-for-profit that supports universal basic income because so many people will lose their jobs because of AI. And I was talking to a reporter recently, and on the agency side, we have actually hired more people because of AI.
Yeah,
because the assumption is you're producing the same amount of content and that can be done faster. We're producing so much more.
Yeah.
So, we go from our topic data, it gets put into our content module that's developed for that client. AI can still get about 70% of the job done. You still need a human to bring it to life. I don't know any other way to say it.
That's so true.
And so when I see clients, we tried AI and we hated it. I said, then you did it wrong.
You did it wrong. You still need a creative direction. And
exactly
AI is going to do what you tell them to do. As simple as that. You still need to guide them, create a strategy, create a directive, and creative planning that makes sense. So that has to be done by a human. At least till now, that could change.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you'll remember when digital cameras first came out.
Yeah.
Everybody was yelling, "Oh, that will never replace photographers." And everybody said that isn't the point. It's just another tool. Use it when it's right or don't. And sure enough, that's what ends up happening. Microwave ovens, the same thing. Everybody's, it'll never replace it doesn't replace anything. It's additive.
It's additive. And I really think all of these tools are going to save us time. I think we're going to have more time to enjoy life. I really do. And
I completely agree.
And it's highly needed. We are working overtime, especially in the United States. So you know what? Let's welcome those tools. Let's pick the right ones. Let's create a new environment that is smarter, that is more automated, so that we don't have to check every numbers every minute of the day.
Exactly.
Right?
But this is where so this is where poor agencies. I wrote another article. Where have all the margins gone for agencies? Because this is where. Because they're always behind the tech curve, in their brain, AI takes away their high margin creative fees. And I'm like, that's one way to think about it for sure, but it's not really productive because the future is there. You could fight it any which way, but it was just like adtech. I had a friend that was leading a major agency, and I said, you got to get into the adtech game. This was probably 2018, 19. Oh, no. Our clients really value us for our strategic work. I said, I'm telling you, that may be true, but adtech is going to go around you and they're going to go directly to the clients and you're going to be left out with nothing. No. And then I made a prediction. At that point, TV was 95% of ad budgets. I said, I'm telling you, digital is going to suck up more than half within the next 5 years. And he just didn't believe me. And he was gracious enough to say, you were right, I was wrong. And so this lack of being future thinking when it comes to technology is where I think the agencies have done themselves and their clients a real disservice. So do I think creative folks will use AI if it's introduced in the right way at the big agencies? Yes. Right now, the only thing a creative person knows is, AI is stealing my stuff so that they could be smarter. And that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. You don't have a choice anyway. It's coming, it's here, it's changing. So it's either you adapt to change or you die.
Correct. And Perplexity, by the way, is creating another version that is changing the learning model. So I'm fascinated to see how that works out. I haven't seen it in action, but they're changing. Right now the learning model is massive data, frankly, good, bad, or indifferent. AI doesn't know better.
Right.
shovel it through, and then AI is really just a completion engine based on what it knows. Here's the next
Mm-hmm.
word that should fit it.
Mm-hmm.
But once it changes the learning model, then that whole issue now goes away.
I know.
Goes away because it might not be dependent on just reams and reams and reams of data to suck in and then just spit back out. I don't
As
know. Again, beyond my pay grade. But what I do know, this was a great little side note. A developer decided to run an experiment. He actually trapped an AI within his world that it could never get out.
oh
Again, back to our Escher painting. He wanted to see if it could be done.
yeah.
And the answer is very easily. So it was training itself on external links, but then once it got to a certain point, it could never leave his little world.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Oh my goodness. So if you're
Yeah.
really an unethical person and you want to really screw up a competitor, you could be doing that.
You
And
can be
I'm like,
doing that. Well, again,
yeah,
this is where you have, like I said, you have to be selecting the right tools, but constantly stay nimble and be able what was the term? I was a term yesterday. It's adaptability, speed of adaptability.
agility.
Yeah, agility. I mean, you have to have all those qualities and always remember that nothing anymore is set in stone. Or if it's
Yeah.
set in stone, it's set in stone for a very short period of time, not like
Exactly.
it was before.
Do you think the big agencies will rise to the AI challenge? I'm curious. Do you think so?
You know, I think the smart ones will. I think the ones that are too greedy and think they know it all won't, because it's all going to be about mindset.
I see. Yeah, I hope they do, because that's where clients are struggling. They're not marketing experts. They're not AI experts. That's not their job.
Then that's not their job, and frankly, they are now in need of people to guide them. And
Exactly right.
also
Exactly right.
they
Exactly
need
right.
they need experts that have the intelligence, because it is a
I
question
hope
of
they
intelligence.
do.
Yeah, I think
I remember with programmatic media, right? Again, I was talking to this friend. I said, "Do you understand how programmatic media works? What all the problems are? Blah blah blah." He said, "Yeah, I kind of understand." I said, "How could you not understand it deeply? Because if you're buying programmatic media, then you have to understand what's actually happening under the hood."
right.
And he looked at me and says, "Well, that's not so important." I'm like, "Really? Are you not guiding your clients as to how they should use programmatic, or maybe not use programmatic? Like, programmatic is useless for B2B. If you have a B2B client using programmatic, I want them to come talk to me, because that might as well just write me a blank check or put money in a tin and
Yeah.
burn it.
Yeah.
It's utterly useless. Actually, utterly useless."
Yeah.
And so agencies did not lead them through the first round of ad tech development. They just did.
Mhm.
Things like cookie profiling. We shouldn't have been doing it from day one anyway. Like Topic Intelligence doesn't track anybody. I found it not a good practice. I just don't like it. So we don't track anybody. But agencies, they were selling how to work with tracking data, because they didn't know how to make a living. Instead of saying, "This is not a good idea, you're going to have a problem." And then when it did become a problem, then, "Oh, we'll help you manage the first party data." It becomes just this chase for margins as opposed to proactive planning as to where they can add value to a client's business.
Yeah. Pivot. I mean, they have to pivot. Like I said, if they can pivot quickly enough, great. If they cannot, that would be an issue.
Yeah, I don't know the current WPP acquisition, merger, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Anyway, so my God, Judy, you have so much going on here. This is wonderful. So you have several packages, right, that you offer to your clients. You have a growth package, business, enterprise, and typically 6 to 8 months contracts, a lot of time annual contracts. Can you give us an idea on pricing so that people have an idea as to how much that would be helpful?
Of course. Thank you for that question. We believe people should pay for what they use, right? So there's no value in me just putting $2,000 price on the data and saying, okay, great. So we base it on usage. Very simple model. There's a base price. And then it's just based on a CPM model. It's a very straightforward CPM. If you have 1 million page views or you have 20,000 page views, we don't care. It's just a CPM based on page views, very straightforward, and very easy to understand. We don't even require contracts, like formal contracts, because if you want to turn it off, you can just turn it off for a couple of months and then turn it back on. So it's meant to be so that the brand could use it productively. Attached to that is we have the services model, very similar to HubSpot. Like when you sign up for HubSpot, you can buy a package that gets you up ramped. It's usually a 3 to 6 month program. Same thing. So 3 to 6 months, depending on the need, the complexity. Again, the 6 months is usually the adtech stack is broken and we have to fix the adtech stack. But a 3 months of how does this data apply to content development? How does the data apply to PPC? How does it apply to social, email, media, all of it, right? So and that's where the EngageSimply. So the core package, if somebody just wants to work with the data, it's typically under $1,000 for a typical site. Again, small sites pay a lot less, bigger sites pay more.
So $1,000 for what's the $1,000 for exactly?
So $1,000 might be for a site that might have like 500,000 visitors.
Per month?
Per month, right? Okay. So let's say a site has, I don't know, let's say 100,000. The pricing is going to be about $500 to $700, depending on other factors. So again, it's meant to be a tool. It's not meant to be the solving of every problem.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's meant to be just, here's the profile, the topic profile your brand needs.
Right.
And after enough data, it becomes predictive. Right.
No, absolutely. Yeah, this is great. I love it. I mean, this is something I would use for sure. I can already think.
You get a discount.
Yeah, I get a discount. No, seriously, that's something I will be using. I know that probably in the next couple of months, we'll have to speak again, you and I.
Yes, and again, it's meant so every level of the company could go in there.
Yeah.
The creative folks, the PPC folks, the email folks. Yeah. It comes with 5 seats, 5 active seats plus 2 admin seats.
Nice.
Like you need somebody, the procurement needs to see it, the IT needs to see it, but they don't need to work with it. So, all inclusive, if there are extra seats needed, we haven't had a company that needs extra seats. Not yet. Maybe mega company might, but again, it's for the key functions.
Yeah.
We then have a content module. So if you want us to write the content based on the data, we do that. Again, that's just an extra module. So it's a little bit like the Lego blocks. You have your base plate, and then you just add the house you want to build on top of that using whatever colored Lego blocks you want.
Yeah, I understand. I think what's very valuable with you is that's great. You have a wonderful tool here, but you also have that agency expertise and experience, which is very important when you consult with clients, because you can give them an overview of the whole market or the whole environment, with that deep understanding of how marketing works and how branding should be established. That's very important when you have that global overview on everything, because not everybody has that, but you do.
Yeah. Well, that's why we created the brand calculator. It's actually a calculator. Here's how much. Topic Intelligence is part of that conversation.
Yeah.
But again, it's meant for brands to understand quickly. The word quickly, like you emphasized, is important. What's my brand? What should my brand be worth? And what are my gaps?
Yeah.
And what's the roadmap to get there? This is not complicated. Let's be honest. This is not surgery. It's not getting a rocket to Mars. The variables are fairly well understood. Yes, there's lots of sub variables, but this is I think adtech likes to make it complicated because they don't like advertising. That was my first initial reaction. The people that are developing these platforms are engineers. They don't like advertising.
Yeah.
So they created it in the way so they shove it into every nook and cranny of our digital world. Because I wouldn't want to see that ad, so nobody wants to see that ad. And I'm expecting one engineer.
Yeah.
If you buy the Vogue magazine, the actual magazine, not the online, you're loving the ads as much as you're loving the content.
Yeah.
Right? Vogue, Brides, the ads were part of that experience. That concept, I failed explaining that concept to any engineer. They just don't get it.
And no, they don't get it, and that's okay. That's their special.
No, that is okay, but that's what I'm saying. If an ad is relevant, then it's welcome.
Well,
And that's doable, and technology can do it, but adtech bros just didn't even get there, so they didn't even try. They just didn't try. That is my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is where quality of content is critical. It has to be done right. And then what I love is you can see the score of your topics. It just topic scoring. You see if it works, and you can always adjust it so that it reaches the highest possible level.
And that's where the analytics comes in. So you can analyze. That topic really rocked it out. Let's do more of that. That topic sucked. We'll do less of that. Again, what to do tomorrow. That's the question I'm always struggling with, what to do tomorrow. And then the charts become very easy for an agency to share. Here are the outcomes. And again, this is outcome based. When you go into Google Analytics, like, you might have a click. A click is not a conversion. A click is a click. It's nice, but it's not the end of the show.
It's the beginning. It's the beginning of the road. That's all.
Exactly. But they take credit for if that person makes a sale, they take credit. And I'm like, really?
Well, this is why we have to go a lot deeper now into the structure of the conversions, because it has been pushed in the deepest layers of the earth because nobody wanted to address it.
Well, I think agencies did a good job of black boxing how marketing works, right?
Yeah.
And I think the last 5 years in particular, I think clients have gotten a lot smarter about how much of it is not actually operative. So now they're trapped.
Now they're trapped.
They're trapped.
When you're
they don't know enough to know what to do. But they also now know their agency doesn't know what to do anymore than they don't know what to do. So what do they do? And that's an existential crisis.
It is.
So many of our clients have been in that position, which is why we're winning that business. They're like, oh, you understand this. Oh, you understand this. Oh, you understand this. And that's unusual for an agency person like me to really deeply understand how this stuff works, which is why I ended up doing this, because I'm so
this is great. You are very smart. You saw a niche, you see an opening and a gap here, and you're filling it up. And I think it's going to help a lot of companies find their next path to a marketing that actually delivers results and that will also please a lot of the investors of companies, and the outcomes are going to be drastically different. So thank you for doing that.
One of our biggest new client funnels is investors who have invested in companies, and it's just not working yet marketing wise, and they're like, could you do something? I'm like, yes, we can. So that became a very rich funnel for us, frankly.
I'm sure it is. A lot of people now are looking for investors, and they have investors in their companies, and they need to provide them with results. So
exactly right.
So anyway, Judy, it's fascinating. I'm so glad you explained everything you're doing. If people are interested in doing something utilizing your software, your platform, what's the best way to get this going?
They could just reach out to me. I'm very discoverable on LinkedIn, so just ping me. You could go to EngageSimply. There's EngageSimply.com, one word. There's a form on the bottom. If you want to check out Topic Intelligence, it's topicintelligence.ai. You can go there as well. But just reach out on LinkedIn. I am very, I love LinkedIn. It's a great way to meet people, to interact. So you'll find me there, and I tend to post a lot there, both things that I've discovered and outrage. There's sometimes I'm like, what the heck?
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Judy. And ask always my guests one little thing. If you had to share an experience in life or an obstacle that you had to overcome that would be inspirational to my audience, what would that be?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I had just given birth to my first child. I was at an agency, a big agency, and 4 weeks into I was on leave for 4 weeks. At the very end, I got fired over the phone. I had been with the agency for 12 years, so it wasn't like I had been there for 2 minutes, and I got fired over the phone. Now, I was sleep deprived, out of my mind anyway. And it was the executive account director and the management supervisor called to fire me, and I just said, no, I don't accept this. I just said no. And that taught me. And what I ended up doing is I ended up going in to talk to the president. This is just not right. They were pitching a lot of business. I said, at least wait until you see if you win some of the business, because then you'll have openings. And then And he was gracious to say, okay, that's fine. And he did that. It turned out we didn't get any of those projects, but there was a need for a part-time account person. So I ended up being one of the only part-time account people. And remember, in those days, there was no laptops, there was a phone, that's it. So I was able to be home with my daughter 2 days out of the week and go into the office too. It was amazing.
Perfect. Yeah.
So when you get told something that is just really unacceptable, you don't have to accept it. You just don't have to accept it. When I saw how badly ad tech was evolving, I shouldn't, at this point in my career, I should be just raking it in, putting money aside for my retirement and call it a day.
Yeah.
But I said, no, this cannot be. This cannot be how we leave digital marketing to the next generation. Too much fraud, too much spam, too much I said no. So be willing to say no, even when it's really, really hard.
Oh, this is
It'll always work. It will work out. It will work out.
Beautiful advice. So hard to do, but that's just amazing. Thank you for saying that and for that example, because you're right. And especially women get so quickly intimidated and they think it's the way it is. But I have become like you. If I truly believe that something is not right, I will open up my mouth, because at that point anyway, you have nothing to lose.
Exactly. Again, it wasn't a conscious thought to say no to the ECD, because I was just out of my mind. I was like, I don't think so. All I could think was, it's very inconvenient for me to look for a job right now. I have a baby. I don't want to be. That's all I was thinking. It wasn't this big strategic, I'm going to take a stand. It was just like, no, I just don't accept this.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, you're a power woman. I love power women like that. And just take a stand, go after their dreams, and change the world.
Yep, one little data point at a time.
One little data point on a point. Thank you so much again, Judy, for participating in the show. I really appreciate you.
You were wonderful. I love this conversation. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to chat again.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. And I'm sure you enjoyed my conversation with Judy. We're going to share this, of course, on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So please share with people around you, because Judy is offering a tool here that will make a difference in your marketing results. And this is what matters now. We need to see conversions. It's very challenging. And she has a tool here that will make it very easy for you to implement and to actually provide those results based on topics that work. So please check her out, go visit the website, speak with Judy. You'll be enlightened really with really opportunities and things that you can do that maybe you have not thought about. Having an open mind, especially nowadays, is important as we are submerged with new technologies. And like I mentioned before, selecting the right tool is going to be a game changer for you. So I hope that you do just that. And again, thank you for watching. I hope you can subscribe, and you will subscribe to the channel. It helps me as I work at growing it, and your help is critical. So again, thank you, and we will see you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.